So for the way, what was the lesson last time about multiplying by the conjugate? That's the method of solving and finding the limit here in this warm up. And to be very thorough with everything, not just going through the procedure of doing the multiplying by the conjugate, but why we're doing this. Let me talk about why we're doing this. We're going to use one of the properties of limits where you got this fraction here. We can go ahead and put the limit, do a limit as x approaches 0 of the top. And then do a limit as x approaches 0 of the bottom. So when I do a limit as x approaches 0 and I plug in x is equal to 0 here, I'm going to get that this is 0. 0 squared is 0. 1 minus 0, 1 minus 0 is 1. And the square root of 1 is 1, which I'm going to do 1 minus 1 is 0. So I am getting that this is 0. The limit as x approaches 0 of this is 0 here, if I plug it in. And if I plug it in here, limit as x approaches 0, this is 0. The limits are 0. So if you get a limit of 0 over 0, it's called indeterminate. So we are allowed to do other things. And so what we're going to do is multiply by the conjugate. The conjugate, so I'll continue on here, the conjugate. I'm going to get rid of this equal sign real quick. Let me just put it as multiply here. And then I'm going to multiply by the conjugate. The only thing that changes, that minus will become plus, and leave everything alone. So this is going to be 1 plus square root of 1 minus x squared. 1, there's a 1 there. And what you do the same thing at the bottom. 1 minus. And this also is true. This is we're not doing anything. Something over itself is 1. So it's 1 over 1 is 1. We're not. This is mathematically fine. There's nothing wrong with it. We're just. So we multiply this out. So again, basic math, we do FOIL method from algebra. 1 times 1 is 1. I'm going to go over every single step here. 1 times that positive thing here, it is going to be a positive 1 minus x squared. And if I will distribute this one times this one, that would give me negative square root of 1 minus x squared. And then this times this, square root times square root, they cancel each other out because you're squaring it. And then you have a negative times a positive will give you a negative of the quantity that's inside. Here's where you guys mess up and are not careful with mathematics, is that, well, I already know what people are going to do. I'm going to go like this and put this down, which is wrong. That's what messes you up. You're like, but why? But that's exactly what is there. It's the quantity. You're going to have to distribute that negative in there. That's going to mess you up. That's why you got to put parentheses there. And at the bottom, you will get x times, I told you, for this particular situation, you don't want to multiply this bottom thing. It just always does that. Another thing that you guys would do something, you would do this, which then you get all confused. You're like, well, it makes no sense because you should maybe put parentheses around it. Because you're multiplying x times this thing, and you go ahead and put parentheses around it. And this happens that the middle cancels out for conjugates. Because you got plus this and minus the same thing. This cancels out. So we would get 1 minus, so it's going to keep this 1. You should distribute this minus. See, that's where people mess up on. A negative 1. Negative times a negative is a positive x squared. Leave this alone. X times a 1 plus square root of 1 minus x squared. And then you can substitute this limit x approaches 0. Because you're trying to get around the problem of having some 0 over 0 kind of thing. And so plug it in. 1 minus 1 cancels out. Plug in x is 0. 0 squared is 0. Over, you plug in x equals 0 here. You know why this is not, I shouldn't do it like this again? Why is this not good? Because I will doing it the way I'm doing it right now, already plugging it in, is going to give me another 0 over 0, which is mathematically wrong. So I shouldn't do what I just did. I'm going to retract. No. I'm going to go ahead and do some more algebra so I don't run into that 0 over 0 problem that I'm doing here. So I'm just going to go like this, that we got to do more algebra. So then 1 minus 1 cancels out. This cancels out. And what should I do? Somebody. Cancel out some x's. Cancel out an x at the bottom with an x at the top. And then I can continue on with this limit as x approaches 0 of x over 1 plus square root of 1 minus x squared. 1 minus x squared. Yeah, and then some people are like, well, why do you not use parentheses here anymore? Because I don't need it. Let me put them back just for you. So we go limit as x approaches 0. And now I do plug it in. Okay, now I should plug it in. And if I do plug it in, x equal to 0, this x is 0 on top. You know, plug in x to 0 here. Then that gives me 1 minus 0, which is 1. Square root of 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Then I do limit as x approaches 0. Now this is 0. Because 0 divided by any non-zero number, 0 divided by 5, 0 divided by 10, 0 divided by anything not 0, as we're taking a limit, would be 0. Okay, so that in itself is a whole bunch of mathematics. And you're getting mathematically more mature if you care to become more mature mathematically. But a lot of you guys, and I'm gonna tell you that this gets more and more difficult. And anybody who thinks that they can just come in here and then just not do any homework and walk through this is not gonna happen. This mathematics it's not a spectator sport. You don't just go and watch something, and you gotta go and actually get involved. All right, good. Let me stop that.